Bills fans, buckle up because this matchup brings a lot more layers than what shows up on paper. Tampa Bay enters the week sitting at 6 wins and 3 losses, and while that record looks steady, the journey behind it has been anything but smooth. They've taken down teams like the Falcons, Texans, Jets, Seahawks, 49ers, and Saints, while stumbling against the Eagles, Lions, and Patriots. It is a team that has lived through streaks, slumps, and injury after injury, yet somehow keeps clawing its way to the top of their division. That alone makes them one of the more unpredictable opponents the Bills will see during this stretch of the season. Their sideline leadership hasn't changed, and stability absolutely matters for Tampa. Todd Bowles is now in his 4th year running the show there, and while his career record has hovered around the break-even mark over a pretty large sample, he has consistently gotten his team to compete for the division every single season. His early years as a head coach were rough, but Tampa has given him a roster he understands, a defense built in his image, and just enough offensive firepower to stay in games even when things get chaotic. And at the center of Tampa's identity is the Baker Mayfield story, one of the more unexpected comebacks in recent NFL memory. He came into the league as the top pick out of Oklahoma, flashed a ton of potential in Cleveland, then saw everything spiral during those final Browns seasons. After bouncing through Carolina and Los Angeles, he landed in Tampa with practically no expectations. What he's done since then has completely flipped the narrative around his career. He has become the steadying force of a franchise that desperately needed one. He is now 30 years old, still has that same edgy competitiveness from college, and has turned into a reliable playmaker for a team that leans heavily on his leadership. This season, he's delivering a completion percentage in the mid-60s and piling up well over 200 passing yards a game. His touchdown-to-interception ratio is clean, and when he uncorks a deep ball, it's been one of Tampa's most dangerous weapons. His downfield accuracy has been sharp, and he's shown no hesitation letting it fly even when the pocket isn't perfect. The big caveat is that his turnover-worthy throw rate is higher than his interception total would suggest, meaning defenses have had chances but simply haven't capitalized. If the Bills get one of those chances, they cannot afford to let it slip by. But the most important storyline around Mayfield right now is the injury he's dealing with. The oblique issue has clearly affected him over the last month. He has scrambled only once in the last 4 games, and that one scramble is the play where he aggravated the injury. Normally, he's one of the more twitchy, slippery quarterbacks in the league, able to spin out of pressure, extend plays, and pull off the kind of off-schedule brilliance that drives defenses crazy. Lately, that version of Baker hasn't fully been there. You can see him hesitate to move, you can see the stiffness, and you can see how much more reliant Tampa has become on timing throws and quick decisions instead of improvisation. And Tampa's offense has needed every bit of structure they can get. Their lineup has been absolutely hammered by injuries. Mike Evans is on injured reserve. Chris Godwin has barely played this season, though he might return for this game and would instantly stabilize the wide receiver group. Their young running back, Bucky Irving, has been limited to just a handful of appearances, but is expected back as well. Their offensive line has been shuffled, patched, rearranged, and patched again. And on top of all that, this is the first year of a new offensive coordinator calling plays, so they've had all the growing pains that come with that transition. Still, even through the chaos, they've shown they can put up points. Their offensive efficiency lives around the middle of the league. Their pass rate is among the higher ones in football, and they have leaned heavily on Baker's ability to make smart reads. They haven't been great on third down or in the red zone, which is one reason their production comes in waves rather than in a consistent rhythm. But the potential is always there for them to catch fire. Their receiving core starts with Amichi Egbuka, who has quickly grown into a legitimate threat at every level of the field. He wins over the top. He wins underneath, he breaks tackles, and he's playing with a confidence that you rarely see from a rookie wideout this early. Godwin's return should open things up even more, because he is that gifted intermediate target who can beat man coverage and fight through contact. Sterling Shepard is a veteran who knows Mayfield well from their college days. And while he is no longer the explosive slot option he once was, he still finds soft spots in zone looks. And rookie Tez Johnson has brought a burst of energy to the offense with his quickness and sharp change of direction. Even though his frame is small, and he's more of a finesse player than a speed demon. At tight end, Cade Otton has developed into the dependable every-down option who might not dominate highlights, but rarely puts the offense in a bad position. Behind him is Payne Durham, who adds size and blocking help when Tampa wants to get heavier. And in the backfield, Bucky Irving's return gives them a shifty, slippery runner who can make defenders miss in tight spaces and catch the ball out of the backfield. He's not going to outrun defensive backs to the end zone, but his suddenness is tough to deal with. Rachaad White remains a part of the rotation, especially on passing downs, and he gives them a bigger body who can absorb contact. How they divide touches between Irving and White is one of the most interesting unknowns heading into this matchup, because the two backs complement each other well. Their offensive line features one of the league's best tackles in Tristan Wirfs. Their rookie center, Graham Barton, has been forced to learn quickly and has held up better than most first-year linemen would under the same circumstances. Both guard spots, though, are filled with players who were not expected to be starters. Injuries have pushed them deep into the depth chart, and while the replacements have plenty of NFL snaps, they are not dominant players. Their right tackle, Luke Goedeke, has made major strides and now looks like a legitimate long-term answer. So the edges are strong, the center is promising, and the guards are where defenses try to attack. For the Bills' defense, that interior weakness is going to be tempting. Mayfield's production dips significantly when pressured or blitzed, and the Bills know that hitting him early affects his rhythm. The challenge is finding ways to generate that inside push while also respecting Tampa's willingness to throw deep. Baker will absolutely test downfield matchups. He has confidence in Egbuka and Johnson on vertical routes, and he's been one of the league's most accurate passers on deep attempts this season. The Bills haven't faced a ton of deep shots this year, but when teams have taken those attempts, Buffalo has generally responded well. This week, though, will likely bring more of those aggressive throws, and the secondary must stay disciplined. Finishing plays is going to be one of the biggest themes for Buffalo's defense. Missed tackles lead to big gains with this Tampa offense. Dropped interceptions have given Mayfield second chances all season. Failed sacks often turn into huge scrambles or broken plays. Tampa thrives when defenses leave opportunities on the field, and Buffalo simply cannot afford that. And with all of that in mind, the Bills now shift their attention to the next part of the challenge: how their own offense matches up with this Buccaneers defense, a unit with strengths, weaknesses, and very specific pressure tendencies that could shape the entire game. Now, shifting to the other side of the ball, this matchup becomes even more intriguing because Tampa's defense brings a mix of toughness, volatility, and big play mentality that can swing a game in either direction. Their identity hasn't changed over the years. They still pride themselves on aggressive fronts, timely blitzes, and disguised coverages meant to confuse quarterbacks into holding the ball just long enough for the pass rush to get home. It's a defense that doesn't mind giving up some yards if it means creating the kind of splash plays that flip momentum instantly. Their defensive structure still leans heavily on physical linebackers who attack downhill and defensive linemen who crash gaps rather than sit back and read. That style could be exhausting for an offense because Tampa rarely gives you the same look twice. One play they crowd the line with bodies. The next they bail out in a zone and send pressure from an unexpected spot. They want quarterbacks second-guessing protections, sliding the wrong direction, or hesitating before pulling the trigger. The strength of their front remains their ability to collapse pockets from multiple angles. Their interior defenders are relentless, winning with leverage and power more than pure explosiveness. That forces quarterbacks into uncomfortable spaces, especially when Tampa sends pressure through the A gaps, a signature part of their identity. Their edge defenders play with a motor that doesn't stop, and even without every starter available this season, they've found ways to manufacture pressure by overloading sides and creating free runners. Where things get complicated for Tampa is in the consistency department. They can look dominant for stretches, then give up long drives because of penalties, missed assignments, or soft spots in coverage. Their pass defense has lived in a strange place this season, showing flashes of lockdown football but also surrendering chunk plays, especially when opponents attack the seams or isolate matchups on the outside. Their secondary features talented athletes who can break on the ball with speed, but when the communication breaks down, big windows appear. That inconsistency is something the Bills' offense must be ready to take advantage of, especially early in the game when Tampa is still adjusting its approach. The Bills will have to be patient while also prepared for sudden aggression. Tampa loves to disguise pressure, often crowding the line to force the offense into quick decisions. They'll drop out linemen into passing lanes, blitz from depth, and try to bait quarterbacks into throwing into bracketed coverages. The key for Buffalo is to avoid the trap of forcing plays just because the pocket looks crowded. Quick decisions help, but so does taking what the defense gives rather than chasing the deep shot every time the look seems favorable. Buffalo's offense will also be challenged by Tampa's speed to the ball. Their linebackers flow quickly, swarm to running backs, and have a knack for closing gaps that initially appear open. It means the Bills need discipline in their rushing attack. The line must stay on blocks, the backs must remain patient, and the offense has to keep Tampa honest with misdirection and motion. When teams attack Tampa horizontally, the defense tends to over-pursue, and that creates cutback lanes and open space behind the second level. In a passing game, this is one of those defenses where timing is everything. If the ball comes out on schedule, Tampa can be picked apart. If the quarterback hesitates, pressure arrives, and the entire drive can unravel. The Bills will need to find rhythm, using layered routes and exploiting the middle of the field where Tampa has occasionally struggled when forced into rotation-heavy coverages. Their safeties can be aggressive, sometimes too aggressive, jumping on underneath throws and leaving windows behind them if the quarterback has time to look off defenders. One area where Buffalo can really test Tampa is with tempo. When opponents speed up the pace, Tampa's disguises become harder to execute because they can't rotate late or substitute freely. That prevents them from leaning into their most complex blitz packages. Quick tempo forces them into simpler calls, and simpler calls usually mean clearer reads for the offense. The Bills have used tempo strategically this season, not constantly, but in moments when the defense seems on its heels. This might be one of those weeks where pace becomes a critical weapon. Physicality will matter as well. Tampa's corners play a demanding style at the line of scrimmage, but they can be beaten with strong releases and crisp breaks. When receivers win early, Tampa struggles to recover because their coverage relies heavily on timing disruption. That's why sharp routes and clean spacing are going to be essential for Buffalo. Any hesitation gives Tampa's pass rush the extra second it needs. Any drifting route can turn a routine play into a dangerous throw. Red zone execution becomes even more important against this defense. Tampa tightens the field by compressing space and bringing pressure from angles that force quarterbacks to move off their spot. They want to create chaos near the goal line. The Bills will need discipline, decisive throws, and a willingness to lean on players who can win physical matchups when space gets tight. And while Tampa's defense can create headaches, it also presents clear opportunities for explosive plays. They gamble. They jump routes. They sell out to create negative plays. And whenever a defense plays with that kind of mentality, it also opens the door for big gains if the offense recognizes the look and counters at the right time. That chess match will be one of the defining elements of this game. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Whispers are growing louder around the league, and nowhere is the noise more deafening than in Buffalo. The NFL's latest decision involving Josh Allen has reportedly left the Bills' star quarterback and his fiercely loyal fan base absolutely fuming. While the league has remained tight-lipped about the reasoning, sources close to the situation suggest the move could have lasting implications for both Allen's reputation and the team's season. According to insiders, tensions have been simmering between Allen's camp and league officials for weeks before the controversy came to light. The issue, which some describe as a questionable interpretation of league policy, appears to have blindsided not just the player, but the entire Bills organization. Fans have taken to social media in droves, flooding timelines with messages of disbelief and anger. One post summed up the general mood. They're not just going after Allen, they're going after Buffalo. Analysts are split. Some claim the NFL is simply enforcing the rules with consistency, while others suspect ulterior motives, suggesting the league may be sending a message, perhaps even setting an example. Whatever the case, the timing couldn't be worse. Allen, known for his competitive fire and composure under pressure, is said to be deeply frustrated but determined to keep his focus on the field. Behind closed doors, the Bills' front office is reportedly exploring its options, including an official appeal or public statement. Yet even as team executives weigh their next move, the city of Buffalo seems united in defiance. Bars, radio shows, and online forums are ablaze with debate, some calling it a league vendetta, others labeling it simply classic Buffalo luck. Whether this incident fades quietly or explodes into a full-blown standoff between a superstar quarterback and the league's top brass remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the storm in Western New York is just beginning, and it has the NFL's attention. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.